Right then, welcome back to Five. Stephen Howson, Joleon, Lescott. We're going to here to talk about the FA Cup final, the first Manchester derby in an FA Cup final. Joleon, cheers for joining us. You all right?
Yeah, good, Steve. You?
Nope.
Yeah, bit more subdued. Now we're live.
I can't sit here in good faith and be like, just shut your mouth. You're going to get absolutely battered tomorrow, because I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. But do you think you're going to get battered, though?
Yeah.
You do?
I would simplify it down to this. I think City have got 3, 4, 5 very obvious ways to win this game, and United probably got one. And I think the reality is going to come and bite us, that you can probably cover up one. It's a bit like whack-a-mole. We might be able to deal with Haaland, but are we going to keep an eye on Kevin De Bruyne? If we don't keep an eye on Kevin De Bruyne, we manage to, is Gundogan going to pop up at the back stick somewhere? I just think there's too many threats.
Is Martinez and Varane fit for this?
Martinez, I don't think he's going to make it, no. I haven't heard anything about it this week, so I assume not. Lindelof's looked decent, but he ain't Martinez.
Yeah. Nah, that's the thing. I think Lindelof's as bad as what the criticism he gets. I think he's all right, to be fair. But
I think the criticism came from him playing
it?
alongside Maguire. I think when he's played alongside Varane, he's looked really solid.
Yeah. But I think he's a miss. So that has an impact. But then again, will he play Shaw?
That might be something to shake it up. But I would think no, because individually Luke Shaw has done a good job as a centre half, I think. But I think you lose his attacking output when he's not there. Both as a centre half, I don't think his.
The only thing is with that. Yeah, I agree. You lose a little bit, obviously, going forward, but is your fullback going to win you the game going forward?
Maybe.
Against Man City?
Maybe. I would say that right flank, our left flank, is probably the defensive weakness that can be got at. And I think if you're
Walker, Rashford?
I don't think it'd be Walker, though. So if it's Walker, I hope United move Rashford centrally and just move him away from him. Because if we put our number one attacking asset up against Kyle Walker, what's Marcus's biggest asset? It's his pace, right? It's eliminated when you put Kyle Walker there. So why would you put him anywhere near him? I would rather Marcus play on the right than go up against Kyle Walker. And he's shit on the right.
Yeah, that would make sense. But, I don't know. It's a tough one, that.
This is hanging, right? Because I'm sure all City fans, the one hope that we've got is that the players go into this one with a little bit of an eye on next week. Because next week, I think for most players, should be seen as bigger.
I think it's a bigger game, but this is a tougher game. I think the occasion, because it's the Champions League, so it is a bigger game. Obviously, we're not going to sit here but this is the FA Cup against United. This ain't a small game for you to just say, we're focusing on the Champions League.
No, I'm saying that might be something that we've got to rely on when someone pulls out of a tackle.
In the greatest respect, I think if this was potentially, say, like the League Cup, then you may get that. No, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just mean like the stature. Like FA Cup is huge, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's my favourite.
My favourite trophy, City. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the hope. That in it.
And that's why I'm sitting here going. But I think that City have got numerous ways to beat us at the moment, and I think Gundogan has gone under the radar massively. Because I think the back end of the season, almost the opposite of what we've seen with Arsenal. When the pressure's been on, Arsenal have absolutely crumbled. But when the pressure's been on, Gundogan's put his hand up and gone, I'll sort it, don't worry. And I got
under the radar as well, quietly and not. Yeah, his IQ for me is higher than anyone's in that team, in that squad. Because he operates as a 6 and 8 or 10, equally effective. I don't know if any other player can do that for City. I don't know if Kevin can play as a 6 and be as effective as a 10 or an 8. But Gundogan is that. He does them all equally effective. Stupid player.
Let's talk about City's new system then. So last night I did my preview. It'll be going out a little bit later on. And I talk extensively about City's sort of new system and how it works and that. Obviously, you've watched City's evolution for the entire reign of Pep. What's your thoughts on this sort of new style of play that he's doing? Does it remind you a lot of what we saw Johan Cruyff doing with Pep himself? And do you think that's where the inspiration for that's come from?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of inspiration from Johan Cruyff. He mentions that a lot. But I think if you take some of the sound bites from his comments, some of the team's comments, I think they've learned from previous defeats and periods where they've come unstuck. And Pep's now tweaked his formation based on players. Me and Rio always talk about when we do it, the system overrides any player. I'm not sure it's the case now with defensively. I think, God forbid, Stones isn't there. I don't know if he asks anyone else to go and play in midfield to the same confidence as Stones. I think his fullbacks, he believes, he trusts they defend. You know what I mean? He said, I think it was the end of the season when he said, he wants his fullbacks to be able to defend and be comfortable 1v1, which I don't think he's always had with Cancelo and Zinchenko. And I think that has cost us in big games, i.e. the Champions League final with Zinchenko. So I think the new system is reliant on players a bit more than it has in the past.
The move from away from sort of playmaking fullbacks to defensive first fullbacks is a really interesting one in it, because it was almost like he seemed to bring that in, at least in English football, where your fullbacks are inverting and they're getting on the ball and they're gonna have to be excellent on the ball because they're going to be in possession so often. For him to go, actually, nah, flip that. This is where we're getting caught out, and I'm going to go with people that can defend 1v1. That's an interesting move, isn't it?
Oh, very, very. And again, recognise it's like he's set up. He made everyone convert to one in fullbacks that can get forward. Then all of a sudden he's realised that could be a weakness. I'm going to revert back, and then everyone else's fullbacks is struggling, and it's like, no, we're doing it this way. And I think it's not coincided. It's just maybe a coincidence with Wan-Bissaka. Now he's getting a lot more credit for being a defender rather than thinking, well, he doesn't go forward that well. That's not his job. It's like you got Anthony and Rashford and Sancho, them guys, Bruno, them guys win you the game. Your fullbacks don't lose you the game.
With Wan-Bissaka's defending, I think he's going to have a big say in keep. I assume it's going to be Grealish that he's up against. I think he's going to have a big say in that. 1v1, we know he's mega. But for me, there's still weaknesses, especially when he's defending a back post when the ball's coming in on the other side. He seems to face his goal a little bit too much for me, rather than facing up the pitch. Yeah. Are those areas that you think he's got to improve on?
Yeah, again, I think when you say improve, it's only issue against certain players, isn't it? You've got to look at and think, I know Jack scored at Old Trafford in the way you're describing, but how often does that happen for him to get caught out? It's not everyone's strength, that is it. It's not every winger he plays against strength to getting at the back post and causing problems. And it's not a glaring weakness where people target him for that. It can happen. I think it can happen.
I've seen it a few times.
Have you got a few? Well, obviously you watch United a lot more than me to know that. I don't think for me, it's not a glaring weakness, but yeah, I know what you're saying. There's a lot more to defending than just 1v1. And the way City move and get into between the fullback and a centre half, that causes problems. But what's helped Jack is Aki not going forward. So when it was Cancelo, he was always in his space and he was kind of overloading that area and stuff, where now it's like, no, go on, you do that, and I'll stay back and conserve this part. So yeah, that is a key area for both teams.
Do you think that's what City have sort of evolved to now, almost like 5 attackers, 5 defenders?
It looks that way, don't it? If on paper, yeah, you would say that. You would say that because Rodri is obviously a defensive-minded player, but when you say that out loud, it just sounds like it's half and half. It's not that. It's like we might have 5 defensive-thinking players on the team, but on the pitch, but we're still going to be in your final third. Like Rodri, the amount of times he nullifies the attacks or the counters in the final third is crazy. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a new way to have. But again, you need the players. You can't. Not everyone can do that. not everyone can afford to have 5 and 5. Some people go 7 and 3 kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky one.
So for me, the best way that you could beat this City team, because I think if you're almost damned if you do, damned if you don't, a little bit against them. I think if you try and sit off in a low block, I think one of the first things that's going to happen to you is they're going to put 5 against your back 4. So immediately you're going to start panicking. You're going to maybe try and drop your 2 6s back to try and even up the numbers and get +1. But if you do that, you're going to proper drop your midfield and defense into just one thin line. And now you're looking at through balls and a bit of VAR and you're 1-0 down. So I think if you go into a bit of a low block, you're going to see De Bruyne and Gundogan push on right beyond you, and you're going to get overloaded, and it's going to drag your players back. I think the team that we've seen consistently do the best against City is Liverpool. And for me, the reason
not Spurs.
You'll know better than me on that front. All right, okay, so flip it then. So in my opinion, yeah, it'd be Liverpool. I think Liverpool have put in the most impressive performances. I know you've struggled at Spurs. Is it always at Spurs?
Nah, it's a bit of both. To be fair, this season beat them at home, but it's Spurs because they sit in a low block.
Different then.
Yeah,
why are they effective?
They sit deep and they are mad efficient. Like they don't get bundles of chances, but they are with Harry Kane and Son. Like they get 4 chances, it's 3 goals. You know what I mean? So. Again, that's what we were saying earlier is when you play City, you have to be efficient. I don't care who you are. You can't be wasting chances. Like City can afford to waste chances against a lot of teams because they create a lot of chances where you get good opportunities. Well, previously you got good opportunities against City because of the way they played, but now it's like you're not getting them. So now it's, this is kind of a half chance, but it's a real chance. Can you execute? And Spurs for me, yeah, they do what you've just described, and the level of player they have is enough to concentrate like you'll see other teams do, and it's not the same because the concentration and the quality to get through, and it's like you're only going to get 3 passes, but they want 5. Where United obviously have that capability, and I think they did it at Old Trafford. It was kind of like that at Old Trafford, wasn't it? It wasn't. I think we'll get a chance. Expensive game.
If you can get Marcus, so for those that aren't fully aware of how City are doing it, John Stones is sort of stepping up alongside Rodri and playing in the sort of number 6 area. But when he's defending, he's still back in the back 4. So for me, the weakness in the team is him. If I'm coaching against this City team tomorrow, I might even say to him, try and man-mark his options and allow Stones to carry the ball a little bit, because if we can draw him out 5 yards further than he wants to be, he's going to struggle to get back on a transition. And that might be where you have Marcus just playing off a little bit.
So you're saying nullify Stones' options when he's in possession?
Yeah, but let him have the ball and see if he'll just out of no choices immediately in front of him, if he'll carry on sort of driving with the ball while the space is there. Sort of give him room to run into.
Nullify. Yeah, see, that's what I think he stopped doing. I don't think he travels with the ball as much now. I think he uses the ball better. Like, I don't know if I remember him this season glaring, you may know, him like traveling and thinking that was great or that was the wrong decision. To like, Joe before he used to step in and just be running with the ball and then it'd be great or it would be poor. I think now he just gets on it. Oh, there's a pass. Someone closing me down. There's a pass. And so that's where I think he's massively
I still think that's
improved.
the weakness. I still think him getting back in shape is the one area that you can exploit. Because I think you can go 1v1 across the other 3. And I think Marcus 1v1's quite dangerous. So
Marcus 1v1 even against Carl. But what they do is they narrow, the 3 narrow. So if that's Kyle, he's going to narrow. So you're going to have to go wide to this, and then that might be Sancho, and then he's getting that wide to Sancho. Even if they do what you say and Marcus is up front, you're just asking the 3 at the back just to narrow off. And what I like they're doing now, they're not trying to win it straight away. They're delaying, which is key, which is, again, is a frustration of mine. I don't think enough defenders delay. I think a lot of defenders want to win the ball. And now City are like, no, we've only got to delay you for 5 seconds. And our players are winning back.
That last night in terms of, I think that's what Rodri and Stones have been doing really well. When they do lose the ball, they've been delaying. And And like you said, you don't need to delay a lot. And if you can get that transition done quickly, because of the pace of Marcus, because he's going to be facing the way he's going anyway, can you imagine trying to, if you're not side on and Marcus has a run up on you, have you got any hope of catching?
You don't get back. But also, he's got no support. He's going to be isolated as well. Yeah, so again, it's going to come down to mad efficiency. He's going to have to execute. And I think if that happened, City have an opportunity to change it and not make it a 1v1, where if that is the strength of United, they don't have an option to.
Hence why I'm sitting here devoed already. I've got a long ass drive there and back tomorrow, thinking
no trains and that, and we're just there,
one roll of the dice, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Marcus
outside of Marcus, what's the threat? I think
if you get
numbers forward, you Casemiro from range or Bruno from range is an option, but I don't think that's going to win us the game. I don't think that's a strategy you can play for. I think if it happens, isn't it? But
I don't think anyone plays for long range opportunities. Like, I don't know anyone, even like Southampton with Ward-Prowse, who's good. You know what I mean? You're not like you don't set up a team or plan for that. That's just skill and execution. But I don't know. It's a tough one, for United. But their threat is Marcus Rashford, who is a threat. So it's not like
it feels so Marcus Rashford, and it's not like you got to watch for Marcus Rashford's pace. I wish we could go like a higher brow level of analysis than that, but that's
but it's super effective. You know what I mean? It's not an average player where you say that's one player's threat and then that's it. The rest are crap. Like they're obviously top players, and Bruno's quality, and it doesn't even have to be like you said. The timing doesn't have to be perfect when it's Rashford. Like he can just get in.
I want to see Fred in the team tomorrow as well. He generally has a good game against City, and I think as good as Casemiro and Eriksen have been, the legs are lacking in them. And I think you bring Fred in.
Who are you playing?
My squad, my 11.
Yeah.
I go Wan-Bissaka right back, Shaw left back, Lindelof Varane. I go Casemiro, Eriksen in the 6, although Eriksen might realistically be a little bit higher up. Fred in the 10 for legs, getting him around Rodri and just getting him around them. Because I think if you can stop Stones and Rodri playing the forward balls and them two breaking the lines there and them two finding Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne, I think you got half a chance. I think defense starts there. I put Bruno on the right, but I don't really worry about Ake in possession. So you almost let him cheat and come inside and double up a little bit and give an extra pair of legs in the centre. So hopefully we're playing 4v3-ish in the centre. Marcus down the middle, because if Marcus down the middle, technically, but if Walker's not playing, I think you can put him on the left and he'll be effective. I just don't want him anywhere near Walker. So if Walker's not playing, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, but you ain't going to know that until your team's in, and then you're going to have to be changed. You would have picked someone to play left, so who are you going to play left?
I think I'd go with Sancho. I think he's actually rounding into a nice little bit of form. And I think he holds the ball quite well. Doesn't really... On one hand, it's frustrating, and I wish wingers took more risk. But in this sort of game where you're not going to get a lot of the ball, I think he'd almost hold it for you, like an old school target man in a totally different way of doing it. But I think the ball comes to Sancho, it stays, and that's all you want. Maybe can get some bodies past him. Can he find a switch, find Bruno on the other side, and then can we maybe get it back over and find Rashford in the middle of the box? And I also think if it is up against Kyle Walker, matching him for pace isn't going to work. So having someone that's maybe got a bit more clever movement and maybe more likely to come inside, maybe drag Walker out of position might be an option. And then maybe, Luke Shaw can get into that.
Sure, yeah.
So I think it would be tight, but I don't really see a scenario where it isn't. I actually think both teams are going to score too, but I don't know if United need a couple of City players to have an off day, or Pep to overthink it, which is on the cards, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't think that is like. It's mad when people say the overthinking thing. Like, I don't understand it. Like, because everyone goes back to the Chelsea game in the Champions League, and I'm like, but like Tuchel had beat him 3 times in the run into that. So if he hadn't changed it and they'd lost, like he's not thinking enough. You know what I mean? But then he changes it totally. They lose 1-0 and it's like you're overthinking it. I'm like, yeah, but you had to change something. They've just lost 3 times to them or something like that. So
maybe
I don't
the
understand.
overthinking it is he's got a Champions League final, and I think everyone knows Pep has to win the Champions League. That's his whole thing and reason for being at City, innit? So maybe
Yeah, but that takes care of itself. Like, how do you overthink that? That's just selection. That isn't the way they play. And I think at the minute, this is probably, what's the word? As comfortable, harmonious, whatever, as the squad's as the squad's been. Like whoever comes in, like even if Alvarez plays, you're not thinking, oh, you know what I mean? Alvarez is serious. So I don't know if there's anyone you're thinking, nah, this ain't the one. This ain't the one. Like, but yeah, it's.
what score do you reckon?
I go for 3-1 City. I think the scoreline it may be a closer game than a 3-1, but I think, like you're saying, I think both teams score, and if on average City are scoring 2, United got to score 3. I don't see City conceding 3, so that's why I'm going out. So I'll say 3-1 City.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can see us scoring, but I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. So you've got problems there straight away. And if you're not going to keep a clean sheet, how many are you going to concede? How many are you going to allow? And we've not been all right. And obviously De Gea's picked up Golden Glove, but I still don't think you could call us the meanest defense, even though technically, he's had the most clean sheets. But no, we're not the meanest defense. We do give teams a chance far too often, actually. I don't know. I think we'll learn a lot about Ten Hag in this, because obviously I think he learned a lot from the Etihad game to the game at Old Trafford.
Yeah, he impressed me a lot with that. Like, just took his medicine and was like, okay, I put my ego to the side and how I want to play, and be like, no, this is how we need to play to beat Man City. So I think he's going to do that again. I'll be surprised if he comes and goes with the Etihad approach. That won't happen. That can't happen.
I'll be on that fucking train platform about 1/4 past, I reckon, if it's going to look like that.
There's no trades, Steve. If you had your own date, there's no trades.
I'll get a train.
Yeah, keep trying to.
Anyway, right, Lescott, cheers. And you lot get your score predictions in. Do United have any hope? And I asked this on my preview last night. Is this about stopping them winning the treble, or is it about winning the FA Cup? Because
we know what it's about.
Cup, it shouldn't be about stopping City doing a treble, but it's going to be, in it.
Yeah, like for United, yeah, of course it should be. And like, it's not for that for City. It's not like the added bonus of beating United to a treble potentially comes after you've won it. It's not like that isn't a motivation now. Like, even for the fans, like I've seen a lot of fans saying they'd rather beat United. If they had a choice, they would take beating United in the FA Cup than the Champions League. So you can't. But no, I swear down, yeah. And at first I was like, nah, no way. But then when I thought about it, I thought, like, yeah, you don't want to lose to United. You know what I mean? Like, no fan wants to lose to their rivals, regardless.
Surely the Champions League.
100%. That's what I thought. And then there were so many fans that was like, nah, I do not want to lose to United.
Are they still going to boo it if they win it?
I don't know. I doubt it. They're going to celebrate. I know that. Celebrate with a parade with 3 trophies, hopefully.
Oh, what day is that going to be? I think I'm out of this. It's going to be the 11th, isn't it?
It's going to be the day you get back from your holiday.
Yeah, I need to go. Anyway, I'm out of here. Joleon, thank you very much. You guys, thank you very much. Get your comments in, get your predictions in, and we will see you all afterwards if United have won it. See you later.